Let me just tell you that retail had a very good year last year, especially not only in the state of Washington, but in the Tri-Cities as a whole. You can see what the sales tax distributions for each of the cities and the counties were here. And one of the things that I heard earlier, Asia said that the Franklin County has grown, and look at the difference between what City of Pasco and City of Richland. They're almost identical. And I can tell you from doing this presentation for over the years, those two numbers used to be wide apart. And City of Pasco has really done an outstanding job, obviously, in developing their retail corridor, and look at how it has benefited them. City of Kennewick still is the #1 sales tax distribution, and let me just tell you that these numbers only come through October, so the state is a couple of months behind in lagging, so we don't really know what the November, December numbers are yet, but overall, see if I did this right. You can see from 2012 where we had this, again, this bubble that went down because of the loss of some of the Hanford jobs. That all came back, and then we had even more sales tax distribution, and a lot of that was, you know, you're talking about some of the things that everyone else has talked about. Construction, Trios Hospital under construction, WSU Nursing School under construction, new homes under construction, a lot of new restaurants and a lot of new retail came into the Tri-Cities in 2013, which also led to the sales tax. I think it's interesting, again, look at City of Pasco, up 7.3%. I'm going to give the City of Pasco some love, Jeff. You gave them some, you know, you were hard on them. I'm going to give them some love. Statewide, you can see that the economy in the state is obviously coming back with the retail sales tax up 7% over 2012. And if you look at these, again, all the counties were fairly similar. The one I think is interesting is Walla Walla County. Walla Walla County had very little growth last year, and a lot of that, there's two things that happened in obviously 2012 or 2013 that have contributed to that. One is you can now buy alcohol in your local Costco, your local grocery store. That all counts now as sales tax. A lot of that is sales tax. Walla Walla does not have a large Costco or a large, grocery stores. Also, one of the big areas that we saw a huge increase last year, not only construction, there wasn't a lot of new construction in the Walla Walla County, but also automobile sales. And automobile sales in Walla Walla County are not as big as what they are here in the Tri-Cities. So that had a huge situation that they only had a 1.1% increase over their 2012, but it was still an increase, so that's a great story. I talk about these evolving markets, and retail is just, it's funny because it's changing every day, and technology is making it change, and you have to stay up with it, and you have to be adaptive today. And one of the things that we saw in in the retail area in 2013 was some of these changing retail strategies, and you saw what JCPenney's did, fired their customer basically, and then they had to go back and retool themselves so that they could change the way they were doing business. And remarkably, they have started to change that around a little bit. It's taken, took them a year to fire their customer. It's taken them a year to get them back, but they are coming back. They had rising prices of consumer goods. I think you've heard people talk about how the consumer goods continue to go up. It makes me absolutely crazy that that the governor is talking about a minimum wage. Who wants to spend $10 for a McDonald's hamburger? Anybody out there? I mean, I don't know where they think this is going to go. It's going to go right down to the consumer. The consumer is going to end up paying for that increase in the minimum wage. And that's the reality of it. I mean, right or wrong, the local business guy is not going to be able to pay his people $15 an hour plus all the Affordable Care Act and then not pass that on to the consumer. So there are really some interesting conversations that are going to go on, I think. I mean, why not an entry-level wage for some of these jobs that are, I worked in the hamburger store when I was, 16. I think I made 50 cents an hour, not $10 an hour, for gosh sakes, I want that. Consumers' confidence, still a little low, and especially in the Tri-Cities area. We had a lot of things go on here last year. With some of the layoffs, especially come October, we had, talk about layoffs again. We had the government totally shut down. Boy, that makes a retailer feel good going into November, December. It's like, really? You're going to shut the government down in October when people are starting to think about buying Christmas gifts and spending lots of money? That makes everybody really exciting, huh? But in 2014, I think you're going to see some more right sizing of stores and personnel, and I think you're already starting to hear it. You heard that, Macy's and Sam's Club are going to trim jobs. Some of them up to 2,300, 2,500 jobs. A lot of them are jobs that are now being taken over by technology, human resource jobs. Instead of having someone sit there with you and walk you through the employee manual, they're going to now sit you in front of a computer, turn on the computer, and you're going to sit and watch the employee manual on the computer. Why do I need all those HR people? I mean, that is some of the things that technology is bringing to the retail industry, and so some of the companies are just now starting to react to that as well. Also, I think you've already heard JCPenney's is looking at closing 33 stores. Thankfully, none of them in Washington. Barnes & Noble is looking at closing 20 stores. Sears is looking at closing stores. Loehmann's just closed. They've been around forever, but they just filed bankruptcy and shut their doors. Thankfully, in Washington State, we have been very lucky that none of these have hit here. But again, as people start to right-size their businesses and look at how some of these other things impact them, especially the Affordable Care Act, minimum wage, they're going to have to make decisions as to how many people they can actually employ in their brick and mortar store. And also, obviously, what is going on via the internet. Adaptive, rapid changes in technology, consumer behavior. People are going to have to be reactive to that, especially retailers. I think you heard Rand Warman say it very well. Our generation, we want a lot and we don't want to pay for it. And that is the reality of it, and it's a cycle that I'm not sure will continue. I think that the younger consumer today is starting to see value in a lot of the stuff that they buy and pay for, but they are used to I always say, who would go buy something right now at Walmart when they're going to roll their price back tomorrow? Again, it's just a continuing situation that, we need to be adaptive as retailers to what's going on to our consumers. I think a lot of you heard about the fiasco with Target right before the holiday season or during the holiday season where, their computers were hacked into. And now, you've got Michael's Crafts and the same thing. Consumers are not going to tolerate that. I mean, retailers have to step forward and start upgrading some of their technology. And I know a lot of that stuff is expensive, especially on the retail side. And when people want, to pay nothing for, goods and services, that's a hard thing to do to invest in, but you're going to have to do it. Otherwise, you're going to lose business. And so it is very important that the retailers of today understand that they need to safeguard that customer information because a customer is just not going to stand for having their systems hacked into. Here are some of the top categories, and again, a lot of them were right here in the Tri-Cities. Construction, we heard, new and used car sale. You know, when the, I love it here in the Tri-Cities, very big car sales last year. When ag does good, those boys like their new trucks, and those ladies like their new Cadillacs and their Mercedes. So ag had a really good year the last 2 years, and so the auto guys, coupled with 0% financing on a lot of these vehicles, why wouldn't you go buy a brand new car? I mean, it was a great time to buy a brand new car. E-commerce and online sales, again, continue to grow every single year. And now it's so great, you can buy something online at a store, or buy something online, get it. If you don't like it, then you take it back to the brick and mortar store, because that's a lot of what they're doing anymore. You buy, a beautiful dress at Nordstrom that you can't find here in the Tri-Cities. You get it, you don't like it, you say, oh, I'll just take it back to Nordstrom's in Spokane. I mean, a lot of the stores are adapted to that, and that's, still helping them drive not only their overall business, but their brick and mortar business, because hopefully once you get into that store, you see something else you like and you buy something else. Building materials and garden also had a great year last year. Accommodations and restaurants, especially here in the Tri-Cities, you'll see that the restaurants had a pretty good year last year. We had a bunch of brand new restaurants come online this last year, so that helped drive that industry up in the Tri-Cities. Some of the bottom categories, the general merchandise categories kind of suffered last year, and I'm talking somewhat to junior apparel. Some of the services industries had some challenges this last year. Because again, if people are looking at, hearing what's going to happen in October, that the government shut down and there's going to be 5,000 layoffs, they're probably less likely to think about they're going to go out and have nails done or hair done, versus I'm going to spend all that money on Christmas gifts and do that kind of thing. Furniture, pharmacy, all those were a little in the bottom categories of 2013. So every year I like to talk about some of the top retail trends that I think you're going to see, and as some people have said, Tri-Cities kind of gets it towards the end of the cycle, or we're a couple years behind, but some of these are really relevant to what retailers are doing today. The first one is getting personal, and consumers obviously want more personalized offers and tailor-made promotions. And you will see that some of these retailers, like Nordstrom for one, is very good at leveraging the data that comes into their store and tracking their shoppers. And then when you're out and about, now you can go in and you walk in and they know you're in your store. They know the last thing that you bought. They will send you a text message about, hey, you're in the store and we have, the thing that you bought last time that you like so much is on sale. You're going to see more targeted messages from these retailers. Like it, buy it. Consumers want to buy now. They want it now. They can buy it anywhere online without having to visit the retailer's e-commerce. You don't have to go to Barnes & Noble to buy their website to buy a book to download. You can go on to any other site. You don't have to go to a clothing store to find it. You can go on Amazon and find it a lot of times. So there are now ways to find other things to buy beyond the e-commerce sites of the brick and mortar stores, and a lot of people are taking advantage of that. Delivery now. Okay, in my office right now, I've got people looking every single day because they bought these NFL jerseys and they were promised 2-day delivery, and 2-day delivery is like today. So they better be here today. And I'm here to tell you that 2-day delivery is going to be archaic in the next probably 5 years. Consumers they'll choose the delivery time, the place that they want it at, their convenience. If you didn't see this big buzz from Amazon about a couple months ago, they generated an announcement that they plan on looking at these Prime Air, which is a drone-based delivery service, and setting up bases in communities where they can get you your product within 30 minutes. And that's what the consumer wants. I mean, when they buy it, they want it now. Pay as you like. People want flexible spending plans. Also, Over $90 billion was paid in mobile payments last year. So everybody wants to pay via their smartphone. So you have to have a way to be able to make sure that the customer, again, the customer is using their smartphone to be able to buy it right now. They don't have to wait to go home to get on their computer or wait to go to the store. So that's a very important thing, and that's only going to go up more as technology gets better in that area. Everywhere for every consumer. Okay. Consumers, they're so smart now, and I mean, I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, and that girl knows more about her iPad than I do, okay? And she knows, she's gonna know more about some of these things like Twitter, Instagram, there's so many of them, Pinterest, Vine, Snapchat. I mean, these kids today are smart, and they can find out information immediately, and they know how to get it, and they're going to be the consumers of tomorrow, and our retailers of today are going to have to also be able to expand beyond just the normal types of advertising mediums that you've used in the past to look at some of all these other types of smartphone and digital channels that everyone is looking at. And then reverse showrooming, what I call. You'll see, again, some of these big places that used to have big box stores like Best Buy. People can buy this, look on online now. They don't have to go to the store to see it in person. They can, a lot of the online places are providing that experience for customers to see exactly how that's going to react, and all they have to do is go down to the store and pick it up. So why do you need 50,000 square feet to, put 5,000 TVs? Because the consumer's walking in saying, I already know everything I know about that one, and taking it out the door. So you're going to see a lot of these guys downsize their stores in order to meet that consumer demand as well. So my retail predictions. Oh, wait, first. My first prediction is, if you're selling Hawk merchandise right now, you're going to have a dang good first quarter. Believe me. And those guys that are in the mall right now, they can barely keep up. And that's why I said, and when they can't keep up, they're going online. And boy, I'll tell you what, in my office day, if that FedEx guy, every time he walks by that thing, the girls are out there, hunting him down. Is in my package in your thing? I'm just telling you. Go Hawks. But my overall retail prediction for 2014, the national retail prediction for the Retail Federation is between a 5.2 and a 5.7% growth. And I think that the Tri-Cities is going to be right in that 5.5% growth in 2014. I think a lot of the things that you heard, thankfully, the omnibus bill that was passed, some of the things that have happened to kind of stabilize the market, knowing that, again, in January we didn't have a government shutdown, that has helped kind of waylay some of the confidence, or actually help the consumer confidence here in the Tri-Cities. And I think you're going to see a really good year in retail in 2014. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.